Last night on MasterChef Australia, a blind tasting was all that they had to choose their ingredients. And it was Kuma who had to say goodbye.
Life is one big adventure, and this has been one hell of a ride.
Tonight, we're off to New Zealand for a spectacular masterclass. Ellie and Alana take a foodie tour with Justin North.
That is so full of flavour. This is beautiful food.
Martin Bosley creates an extraordinary honey cake.
The last element that I'm going to put across the top of the ice cream here is bee pollen.
And the ultimate food forager, Al Brown.
Hi, ladies.
Hello!
With the joy of sourcing fresh ingredients.
I hope you can cook as well as you can fish.
And that's not all. The award-winning Flur Sullivan joins us in the MasterChef kitchen with her hearty seafood chowder.
Oh, look, this is a beautiful spoonful. Where do I stop?
And New Zealand's own MasterChef, Simon Gold.
Hey, mate. Great to see you.
Shows how to match perfectly cooked venison with all the right elements.
Who wants to come up and taste?
Hello, this is Alana.
Hello, Alana. It's Justin North here from Bacchus.
Hi, Justin.
I know you guys had Masterclass today. I've been speaking to Gary and George, and they said you and Ellie have had a pretty impressive week and should do a private Masterclass with me.
Oh, wow, that sounds great. Goodbye, see you there. Elle, you and I are going to Wellington in New Zealand for this week's private Masterclass.
I can't believe it. Alana and I are flying off to New Zealand this morning for a private masterclass organised by Justin North. It's just amazing.
We're going to head off now. We're going to go pack our bags and get straight to the airport.
It's Masterclass, the time of the week I love the best. A chance to sit back, learn from some great chefs and just take it all in without any pressure.
Welcome back to the MasterChef kitchen and welcome to another Masterclass. A chance for you to sit back and watch somebody else cook for a change. There's going to be lots of surprises coming up, just like the one we dropped on Ellie and Alana. A quick trip to New Zealand with Justin North for their own private masterclass. Right. How fabulous is that? And it's only going to get better.
Today's masterclass is going to be all about New Zealand, about that beautiful place and its beautiful produce. And you're going to get that New Zealand food magic from two of New Zealand's top chefs. We've flown them in, they're here, and they're here to teach you something special.
Yay!
Our first guest is a true Kiwi. Not only is her food famous in New Zealand, but it's known internationally. Just ask the great Rick Stein. When a newspaper offered to fly him anywhere in the world, he wanted to go to this lady's restaurant. Her restaurant is called Flur's Place, and this famous chef is called Flur Sullivan. Please welcome her to the MasterChef kitchen. Hello, Flur. How are you? Welcome to the MasterChef kitchen. Come and stand here.
Thank you.
So, Flur, tell us something about your restaurant.
Well, I live in a very small village in New Zealand, population 69 people. But all Australians that come to New Zealand, somewhere along the way, someone says, make sure you go to Flur's. So you turn left at the boat, down a little rough road, and come around the corner, and here's this beautiful bay with fishing boats. And then across the bay is my restaurant. I'm Flur Sullivan, owner of Flur's Place in Moraki, New Zealand. Population 69 people. We serve about 200 or 300 meals a day. I've been in the restaurant game for about 35 years. I do like to be involved in every aspect of my restaurant. That's where I get my satisfaction from. The reason my food is unique is because I have an opportunity that not many people have. We've got the sea on three sides, the fishermen with the fish, and the beautiful produce of this valley from this Waitaki area is right at my doorstep. We get it every day, presented with pride, and we treat it with respect and love and put it on the plate and people recognise it.
I'm going to leave you with Gary and come back to see what wonderful things you're cooking.
I haven't bored you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
So, Fleur, now we've got George out of our hair, we can get on and do some cooking. So what are you going to show us today?
I'll show you how to make Flur's famous seafood chowder.
OK, Fleur, let's get stuck into this chowder.
Good.
Now, we've already got this beautiful fish stock that's been made with those fish frames, the fish heads, and we've extracted as much flavour as we can, so that smells beautiful.
Yes.
Now we're going to do the second stage, which is make the roux in the pot, which is what's going to thicken this soup and give it that lovely silky texture, right? OK, so what's first?
Well, we'll turn the element on.
So a low temperature or medium heat, and then butter first. So how much butter's here, Fleur?
200 grams.
OK. Now, you've got some vegetables here. So you've got celery, carrot and onion. We've got about 1 onion in there, and then just under a cup of diced carrots. And the same of celery, just under a cup. Good stuff. So plenty of flavour going to come out of those.
Yep.
So what are we looking for when we're sweating those vegetables?
You just want them to colour through, just get a wee bit opaque. It's looking beautiful.
So the vegetables have started to soften, and it's at this point now that we add 200 grams of flour?
Yes, it looks like quite a lot, doesn't
Yeah.
it? And I'll put a wee bit of the wine in there.
So wine's going in?
Yep.
100 mils of wine?
Yep.
OK. 150 grams of tomato paste?
Yes.
Gutsy flavour, right?
Yes.
This fish stock needs to be warm, right?
Yes.
So you've got about 2 litres of stock there, and you're adding a ladle at a time?
No, I'll just do that at the start.
OK, just to make a paste in the bottom of the pan. And it's obviously important to make it pasty like this, because if you added all the stock at once, the chances are you're going to end up with little pockets of flour and lumps, which is not what you want.
My mother used to do that.
Oh, so did my mum.
Yeah.
But actually, it's
She's
funny.
dead now, I can mention it. My dad was always very kind and pretended they were fat.
Yeah.
You know, it was the fat, and he liked the fat.
So now you've got to this stage. We've added a little bit of the stock, and we've softened that roux, so we've got a pasty consistency. And now you're going to add, you've got 2 dried herbs here. What are these?
That's ground fennel.
And what's this
and
one?
That's Spanish paprika.
So how much are you putting in of that paprika?
The lot.
OK, so there's about a teaspoon there?
Yep.
And now the fennel? Can I put it in?
Yes, you can. Thank you.
Beautiful. So once you've got that pasty consistency, you can pretty much add the rest of the stock, and then you know that it's going to dissolve and then bubble and boil into a beautiful soup. I love the colour on that, Fleur. It looks beautiful.
Isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, really lovely. Now, I've got this bouquet garni here. What is a bouquet garni? What's in here?
Well, we use the celery and we've put the thyme, a bay leaf, and I think there's probably a wee few fennel seeds in there as well.
So rather than finding bits of herbs in your soup, you can just pull that little string out and everything comes with it. So that's Fleur's beautiful, simple seafood chowder base, and all we've got to add into there now is the seafood. So what have we got here?
That's hapuka.
Okay.
That's beautiful groper.
Yep, and you want a nice, meaty, firm flavoured fish with bags of flavour.
Yes.
So you don't have to use expensive fish, you can use cheaper stuff.
Ling flaps we often use,
Yeah.
and blue cod when we've got an abundance.
So what have we got here?
New Zealand green lip mussels.
Okay. Which are different to the Australian ones, which are a
Yes.
black or blue mussel. And then what are these? You got some clams?
Yes, they're New Zealand little neck clams.
Little neck clams?
These are your scallops.
Yeah.
They're beautiful.
And how different are they to the scallops that you get in New Zealand?
We use a queen scallop, which is only available in the Otago harbour. They're smaller and all different colours.
Beautiful. All right, let's get stuck in and we'll pop the hapuka in. 500 grams of the hapuka.
Beautiful.
What goes in next?
Normally I would be using queen scallops, but this one's escaped.
Yeah.
Did you eat it? Yeah.
And then we've got mussels and the cockles.
Yep.
So we've got 500 grams of hapuka, we've got 10 scallops, 15 little cockles, and we've got about the same of mussels.
Yes.
And that's going to take about 2 to 3 minutes, and then that'll be ready. So, Fleur, it looks beautiful, looks ready. Can't wait to taste it. Should we serve up?
We will.
Oh, look at that. Nice scallop.
Oh, look, this is a beautiful spoonful. Where do I stop?
Oh, there you go. Look at that.
Beautiful. And that's my famous Flur's Seafood Chowder.
Beautiful stuff.
Wow.
Isn't that gorgeous? Lovely.
Delicious.
That's your spoon for the pot. You
Thank
go over
you.
there. Who wants to come up and taste? Billy, up you come. Peter and Hayden.
Cool. Oh, yeah.
Grab a bowl.
Oh.
Yum.
Get in there, tuck in. So, Fleur, do you sell lots of this at the restaurant?
Yep, we do.
120 litres of stock a week, 300 customers a day.
Those wee scallops are beautiful.
They are nice, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
One thing I noticed is actually you didn't use any seasoning salt in it because all the natural brine that actually quite flavours it.
Look, there's a distinctive marine taste, and something about the consistency of it is very comforting and warming.
I can just imagine sitting on the cold shore of New Zealand, having this with a big crusty bit of bread, and you're right there.
So what do you want to say to people about coming to New Zealand?
Well, I want you all to come to New Zealand. We've reached such a high standard now with our food, and there's not a lot of us. We do need a lot of visitors to come and enjoy what we have to offer.
I tell you what, if it all tastes like that, you couldn't ask for anything more, could you? Guys, have you had your fill?
Almost finished.
Off you go.
Thank you, Fleur. Beautiful.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Right, top tips. Ready, Fleur?
My top tips for the perfect seafood chowder are, number one, make your own fish stock. You'll never ever receive the full pleasure of your cooking unless you make your stocks. Number two, perfect your roux because it gives it that beautiful silky body. And number three, respect your seafood and never overcook it.
Well, I can say something. I've learnt a little today, so I'm sure you guys now know how to make the perfect seafood chowder. So we have to thank Fleur Sullivan from Fleur's Place in Mehigan, New Zealand, for coming all the way over and showing you how to make a beautiful seafood chowder. Thank you so much.
Alana and I are in Wellington today for a private masterclass organised by top chef Justin North.
Oh, it looks so beautiful. The sun hitting all the buildings there, looks gorgeous.
Justin mentioned on the phone that we'll be spending the day with Al Brown, who is a chefing legend here in New Zealand.
Oh, it's a boat.
Hi, ladies.
Hello.
Welcome to Wellington.
Thank you.
I'm Al Brown.
I'm a hunter, a forager, but most of all, I'm a chef.
I've been cooking for over 20 years. I've been lucky enough to set up a great restaurant in New Zealand called Logan Brown.
It's won numerous awards, including the coveted New Zealand Restaurant of the Year Cuisine Award.
I really enjoy foraging for ingredients because I feel it sort of connects you with the land a little bit more. I believe the final dish is always better if you actually can forage or produce the product yourself. So you're looking after it every step of the way. It's not just the preparation of the cooking, you're actually connected and looking after that product from the moment it was produced.
The more chefs understand where their food comes from, the more rewarding experience it'll be to cook.
My good friend Justin North has asked me to help him out with a special masterclass here in New Zealand. You're going to catch up with Justin a little bit later, but first of all, I'm going to introduce you to the wonderful produce and seafood that New Zealand is famous for.
Cool. Great.
We're going to create a dish of seaweed crumbed crayfish with Salsa Verde, char-grilled paua and ceviche. My philosophy on food is all about using products that are in season and trying to use as many of the products that are actually native to the area. So you guys are going to help me forage and catch the ingredients for the dish.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
So you up for it?
Yeah.
Well, let's get going. So girls, the hero of our dish today is going to be a crayfish. This is the entrance of Wellington Harbour. This is crayfish country. We're going to catch them in a pot, hopefully, and we'll pull that up, and with a bit of luck, bullseye. Here it goes. You see it's coming?
Yeah.
Fantastic,
They're
look
like
at that.
pouring onto the side.
Hey, how about that? Let's put that in. Come and have a look at those.
Wow.
Now that, you know, they are just absolutely magnificent, aren't they?
Oh, wow.
See the colour?
Oh, beautiful.
But beautiful and healthy.
Wow.
See there? Yeah, just be careful, they'll flick that tail up, it'll break your finger in a second. Hey! But the main thing about this is that these are very, very precious. We've got to look after them. We've got to treat them in a humane way. So we're going to put these into ice water. They're going to go to sleep. And that way they don't feel any pain whatsoever.
Now we've caught our cray, it's time to get onto some fishing and see if we can catch some blue cod, because we need that to create the dish today.
You feel anything?
Yeah, I can look.
Yeah, you got something. Wind it in, wind it in.
Did you get something?
Good stuff, just keep winding. Oh, look at that! Pull it in. Oh!
Wow!
Look, that is a blue cod. That is the species we were looking for. That is a magnificent fish.
He's beautiful. Wow.
He is beautiful.
He's beautiful.
And we'll just get the hook out. That. That is a beautiful Wellington blue cod. Look at it.
Alana's the first one to catch a fish, so I know they're out there.
Fantastic.
If Alana's got one, then I am definitely getting one.
Magnificent blue cod. Wind it. Quick, 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 quick. Wind it. You got it? Bring it in. You girls are fantastic. I hope you can cook as well as you can fish. There you go. Look at that. It's just about the same size, isn't it? It's beautiful. How about that? Okay, pretty good?
That's awesome.
Fantastic. So we've got a couple of blue cod, we've got some crayfish. We're going to head into shore and we're going to forage for a few other ingredients. And then we've got the makings of a great meal. So let's get going.
Beautiful.
Fantastic. Well done. I couldn't believe you caught them.
I'm very excited to be cooking with Al today because we've not only caught our own fish, but we're about to go and forage for ingredients. So I'm just excited to be outdoors and cooking with someone so enthusiastic.
So what I love about, being in this sort of environment is there's always things to look for that we can use.
Yeah.
That's what foraging's about, and you'd be surprised. I mean, you look around here, look, this is wild parsley, and we're making a salsa verde, so we'll grab a bit of this. It's all about keeping your eyes open, and you'd be surprised wherever you go, there's things to forage and there's things to use. Right here, that's some samphire. This is a succulent, but it grows here along the coast. We can use this as a sort of a seasoning for the dish. We're making a salsa verde, so instead of using salt, we've got an ingredient that's got a lot of that happening already. It'll go very, very well with the salsa verde.
Beautiful.
These waters are just teeming with seafood, and this is where I dive for abalone. I went for a dive yesterday. These are what we call pawa, which you'd know as abalone. It's like a sort of snail of the ocean, just a wonderful delicacy. They can be a little bit tough, so we're going to remove them from the shell. And the way you do that is that you just run your thumb down the centre, and then you just run it along underneath, and then you pull it up. And it's going to have some stomach in there. But if you look at that shell,
That's gorgeous.
Isn't that wonderful?
That is beautiful.
I think we might use those somewhere along the line.
Yeah.
Right, so the first dish we're going to make today with the blue cod that you so brilliantly caught, those two, we're going to make some ceviche.
The interesting thing about ceviche is that you're not using heat to cook the fish, but you're using a marinade of lime and lemon juice. The citric acid changes the texture of the fish without actually taking away any of the raw flavour.
I'm going to get you, Alana, to cut up the fish. Nice little cubes, yeah? And we're just going to marinate this, and as we know that the acid of the juices, the lemon juices, or the citrus that we're going to add to this is actually going to cook that. So we're going to make it, and we're going to let it sit for a little bit, okay? So do you want to start on the blue cod? And have a try of that, Ellie. So this is a little pepper dew, which has got a little bit of sweetness to it, and a little bit of heat. It's like a chilli. So I'll get you to chop those up.
Just quite finely?
Yeah, just rough chop it, that's right. That looks great. That's absolutely perfect over there, Alana. And the thing is, we are going to marinate this, and it's going to start cooking the fish.
What other kind of fish would be good to use for ceviche?
A lot of people use oily fish like sardines or kingfish, things like that. Right, so we're going to pick some nice coriander leaves. I'd just break those off like that, and I'd rough chop those as well. That's perfect, Alana. Nice chopping skills. So let's put the fish in there, please. That's our beautiful fresh blue cod. And now, really, it is just about building the dish.
Yep.
So we'll put that there. So we've got about 8 pepper juice chopped up. Perfect. Bunch of chervil. Now, red onion, I think we'll use about 1/4 cup. 1 whole red chilli, one of these, okay? Perfect. We're just gonna add a little bit of lime juice, and I would say about 3 tablespoons of lime juice.
Yep.
And we'll do the same with the lemon juice. Okay, 3 tablespoons of that. I'm gonna add a little bit of sugar. What's the most important thing that we haven't put in there yet?
Salt and pepper.
Salt and pepper should be front of mind. You guys want to win this competition. Seasoning, it's the only magic there is. Here we go. Some pepper, and put a little bit of salt in there as well. I've got some lemon and fennel oil, so we're just going to add about 1/3 cup of olive oil. Give it a little bit of a stir.
The colours are so nice.
Aren't they? I mean, it's just really, really fresh and lovely, and it's very textural, but you can see that the juice is starting to cook it already. Can you see how it's taking off the white? Let's try a bit each and see where we're at. Let's have a look. What do you think? A little bit more salt?
A little bit more salt.
A little bit more salt.
But I think there's a lot going on there, and it's quite lovely. Not eat it just like that.
So how long did you leave it for?
Well, we're going to leave this for about half an hour. You can see it's just starting to cook, but we've still got that lovely, lovely texture in our mouth. Okay, well done. That's the ceviche starter. We'll put that to the side, and then we've got some real cooking to do.
Oh.
Right, so the next component for this wonderful meal that we're putting together is a salsa verde. So the first thing we're going to do is chop that wonderful parsley and the basil. We've got about 1/2 cup of each. And what I like to do is just chop it all together.
I can smell all the herbs.
Can you smell it? It's just wonderful.
Really good.
If it doesn't blow away. Wellington, you know, there's an occasional breeze. That's been pretty good. It's been holding off. So in there we've got 1/2 cup of basil, 1/2 cup of parsley, 1/2 cup of mint, and then just 1/4 cup of tarragon. I think that's enough, just like that. So what we're going to do is place that in there. Right, so what's going to make this a little bit more interesting than regular salsa verdes is our wonderful samphire that we collected. We've just blanched it for about 30 seconds. That's a sort of like a bit of a seasoning component to this dish. We want some little chunks in there because it's that textural thing we were talking about as well. Doesn't it look beautiful?
And they sort of have that little burst of flavour, so which is nice.
Yeah, when you eat that, you're going to get this really... And to me, it's a burst of the ocean. It's a burst of the seaside, and that's what cooking outdoors in this sort of environment's about. OK, so we're building our salsa verde. We've got 1 green pepper, 1 capsicum that we put in there. We've got 1/3 cup of gherkin. I'm going to put that in. 1/3 cup of shallots, so that's our onion component. We're going to add a little bit of garlic as well. We'll put in about 1 teaspoon of garlic. Zest of a lemon. That's going to give the lovely oil, the citrus oil in there. And of course, we're going to put the lemon juice, and we've got about 4 tablespoons of lemon juice in there. We're going to add a little bit of capers. You can't really make a salsa verde without capers. I adore that. And so there's 2 tablespoons of capers. We've got a couple of anchovies. Again, that saltiness. Now, I've made a little bit of a wonderful herb oil. So in there, we've got a little bit of spinach for colour, but then we've got basil, and we've got mint, and we've got tarragon, etc. So that's just going to really intensify. And if we're talking about it looking really good, that's going to be really wonderful. And then we've just got some of this great olive oil. We've put in about, I guess, 3/4 cup of that. Now, you'll notice we haven't put any salt in there. Why haven't we put any salt in there?
Because it's very salty already, so to taste.
But we will need a little grinder pepper. Now, if we look at that, the colour's extraordinary, isn't it?
It's beautiful. Wow.
It's going to cut through the richness of that crayfish and that abalone, but you could serve this with beef, you could serve it with lamb. Great for a vegetarian dish to just sort of zhuzh it up. Next, we're going to get into the crayfish and the abalone. So we're going to make a beurre blanc, which is really another name for a butter sauce. It's a sauce that's used all around the world. It goes terrifically well with seafood. There's quite a bit of butter in there, but we're only going to be using a little bit of the sauce. And it's pretty simple to make. We have 50 mils of white wine into a hot pan. And then 50 mils of white wine vinegar. And what we're going to do is reduce that. So I put the pan on so it gets nice and hot, and then that's just going to start to come down. We're going to add a couple of tablespoons of shallots. We're going to add product identification.
Bay leaf.
Well done. Put a couple of those in there.
Fresh bay leaf.
Fresh bay leaves. Of course, dried are going to work equally as well. Half a dozen peppercorns. And what we're going to do now is just really let this reduce. And once it reduces by sort of half, we're going to add 100 ml of cream, and then that'll come down, and then we're going to whisk our butter into there as well. So that's bubbling away. We're going to add 100 ml of cream now and just reduce that some more. And then really, all it is a case of whisking in a whole lot of cold butter. So what we're looking for here, see how it's bubbling up? You'll see that their bubbles will actually get bigger and glossier, and that'll give you a good indication that it's getting thicker. You don't need to stir this. It's not going to burn or anything, but you just need to keep an eye on it. But that's looking pretty good. Smell it too. So I think we're pretty happy. That's ready to go now. We're ready to add the butter in there. And so all we're going to do is put in a few pieces of butter at a time. It's going to seem like a lot of butter. We're going to put 250 grams in here. But we need that to thicken the sauce, and we're not going to use it all. I know there's a lot, but really we're only using about a tablespoon or so on the dish. So you couldn't actually make a quarter cup of beurre blanc. You have to go through the process of the reduction and adding a certain amount of butter at a time. And you can see, if you see that, it's starting to thicken up already.
Yep.
And see how silky it's becoming?
Yeah.
That bay leaf's just going to infuse. You put it in, and it really just has this lovely savoury tone. It's a bit of the unsung hero of herbs, I think, the bay leaf. But that, see the colour?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
The silkiness?
Creamy.
That is perfect. And all we need to do now is we're going to grab another pot. We're going to turn the heat off, and I'll get you to strain it through there, please, Ellie. Ooh.
Looks beautiful.
The thing I love about cooking, is all these components that we're doing. You start to think about the dish, you start to think, it's coming together, we've got a great sauce, we've got a great salsa verde, and you get confidence in the dish as you're building it.
Yeah.
That's really important. But that is our beurre blanc, and we'll just keep that warm. The next thing we're doing is we are nearly plating up. We're going to crumb the crayfish with the seaweed crumbs, and then we're going to cook that whole paua and abalone and put the dish together. It's going to be delicious, I know that.
Beautiful.
When we return,
what we're going to do is place a little bit of the crayfish there.
Al Brown puts his seafood odyssey on the plate.
Oh.
Yum.
How good is that? Right, girls, we're on the home stretch. I have to apologise a little bit for the weather. But it is winter, it is Wellington, we had a beautiful start to the day. But we're going to get into it, we're going to cook this beautiful crayfish. Now the thing that we're going to do, I want you to try this just quickly. This is some dried seaweed right from here as well. It's called Corango, and that's going to add another seasoning to the dish, yeah? What do you taste there? Bit of the ocean?
Yeah, salty. Salty. The texture's beautiful. Crunchy.
Fantastic. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a little crumbing mix with it. We've got some breadcrumbs here, probably about two cups of breadcrumbs.
Yep.
We're going to add the Corango, which is going to add that lovely seasoning. Then we're going to add some fresh lime zest. So now we're going to mix it. We're just going to put that through, and that's the saltiness to the breadcrumbs. So we're going to have lots of lovely colour there as well, the little flecks of the seaweed through it. Now, I want you to crumb these, and I'll show you the first one. Now, the first thing you do with crumbing is you use one hand, yeah? Okay, so we get a little bit of flour on there. We try and get most of it off. Then we dip it in the egg, like so. And then we just cover it in this wonderful seaweed and lime crumbing mix. And we're just going to put that on there. How does that look?
Beautiful.
Okay, one each. There you go. So always just one hand, and then you've always got a clean hand to do other things with it. That's right. And then into the crumbing mix. Sort of pat it down, get it on there. That's going to adhere to it. Alana, if you could do one more too, please. Good job, Ellie. Good job. So the dish is coming together. What have we got? We're going to have that salsa verde. I'm going to get you girls after this to plate up the ceviche. That's rested for about 40 minutes, so it's done its thing. It's cooked a little bit.
And then we can eat it?
Then we can eat it. I think that's a good thing to do. That's the fun part of it all. Beautiful. Well done. I'm going to get you girls to plate the ceviche. So we've got those beautiful paua shells.
Aren't they beautiful? Oh, they're gorgeous.
How's that look? Isn't it wonderful to be able to cook over a little bit of open fire like this?
Yeah.
And the heat, quite nice in Wellington as well. Oh, that looks beautiful. Now we're going to cook this power on this lovely hot grill like this. The reason why I like to cook with wood, first of all, to me as a chef, it's sort of challenging. I love it and it imparts a beautiful flavour into the food. These are not going to take long at all.
Yeah.
And the golden rule with cooking seafood is always undercook it. If it's really undercooked, you can always cook it a little bit more, but when it's overcooked, there's nothing you can do about it. But seafood in general, when it's fresh like this, it should still be a little bit opaque in the centre. All we're really doing is heating it through, and we'll turn them maybe a couple of minutes on either side, and they're done. Our crayfish over here, we've caramelised that.
Yum.
Doesn't that look wonderful?
Yum.
That looks pretty good to me. But if you feel it, it's firmed up beautifully, and we don't want to overcook it. That's done. Right, let's have a look at our power. And again, it's just warmed through. We're going to put it in here for a second to keep it warm. And doesn't that look great?
Yeah.
Time to plate, girls. Now, the first thing we do, it's the cook's prerogative to try a little bit. Have you ever had it before, Power?
No, not like this, I haven't.
Let's have a little try.
I haven't had it for years. Wow. It's delicious. That is so tender.
Isn't it tender?
Yeah.
Magic.
You don't have to do a lot to it either. It's incredible.
Not much at all. What we're going to do is place a little bit of the crayfish there. We're going to get 3 lovely slices of the power, and we're just going to put them like that. We're going to get the Salsa Verde.
Oh, yum.
And then, of course, we've got our beautiful beurre blanc that we made. And all we do here...
Yum.
Now, I'll tell you what, I think that looks pretty extraordinary. Let's try the ceviche first, eh?
Oh, yum.
How good is that?
So beautiful.
See how it's just softened up a little bit?
It has.
There's a little bit of
Softened
the
up
texture in
lovely.
there.
It has.
That is fantastic. But what it needs is a little glass of New Zealand Riesling.
Won't say no to that. Me either.
A little sip of that.
Thank you.
See what you think if it goes with the seafood.
Yum.
Happy?
Yeah. That's lovely because it's nice and sweet, but then you have this sort of
sweet.
acidic
Isn't it good?
fish. Yeah.
Here's a knife. Let's try the power on the
I
crayfish.
can't wait to try this.
Okay. Ladies first. Make sure you get a little bit of everything.
Yep.
So we'll try it.
Oh, beautiful.
It's
that
very...
fresh salsa verde with the charry power is beautiful.
It just speaks of the environment.
It does.
This is very typical New Zealand. This is something that we're very fortunate to have, and I just love it. But thanks for sharing this with me today.
Thank you for teaching us.
No problems, and I've got 3 tips for you, okay? The one thing that you got to remember, and I kept talking about it today, was seasoning. It's all about how it tastes. The next point is always think about your environment, where you are and what you can use from it. And the last but not least is keep things simple. So cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.
Good luck in the competition.
Thank you.
It's been just fantastic.
Today on Masterclass, it's all things New Zealand. And our next guest is from Auckland, and no stranger to things fine dining and no stranger to things MasterChef. He delivers award-winning food, and we are so delighted and lucky to have him here on MasterChef Australia. Here he is, one of the judges on MasterChef New Zealand, Simon Gold.
Hey, George. Good to see you. Good to be here. I'm Simon Gold, Kiwi chef and owner of 5 restaurants. I've been cooking for over 30 years and I still love it. How good does that look? Being a chef in New Zealand, you're spoilt for choice beyond belief. My food is about taking the best New Zealand produce there is, giving it a global influence, putting it on a plate with an extra 5% magic. I love to deliver some theatre to the table using classic techniques, embracing new technology and giving it a modern, edgy twist. I want the dish to move. I want to give my diners a wickedly new experience.
Mate, it's an honour to have you here. What dish are you going to cook for us today?
I'm going to do a New Zealand venison with a parsnip puree, sous vide fennel, a cipollini onion and a citrus jus. Who's cooked venison before? All right, one odd one out.
Danny's, we love it. Simon, what are the 3 techniques that the guys are going to be learning today?
First technique we're going to do is how to make a spice. You know, we've always got to have a secret weapon in the cupboard that we can pull out and blow people away with. Secondly, I'm going to teach you how to make a crumb using malto. And then the third thing that we're really going to look at is cooking venison perfectly. Danny, you've never cooked venison before, right?
No.
So you better come and help me, make sure I do it right. Come on.
Come on, Danny.
Sure.
Okay, Danny.
First thing we're going to do is make the spice. So what we've got here is we've got juniper berries, okay?
What's that, about a tablespoon?
About a tablespoon,
Yeah.
tablespoon of each, pretty much. Now, we've got some green peppercorns here. Now, you can buy freeze-dried green peppercorns, which I prefer to use because they're much easier when you put them in here and you want to grind them up. So I'll pop those in there. Black peppercorns, it's another tablespoon. Another tablespoon of pink peppercorns. Do your thing, girl.
Simon, what are you looking for here in terms of Danny pounding all this spice mixture up?
Well, the first thing I'm looking for is Danny to keep them in the bowl.
Yes.
Sorry.
All right, so let's keep them in there rather than all over the place. And
I'm getting a bit excited, you know, standing next to New Zealand judge of MasterChef is making me a bit nervous.
Well, you never do that when you're standing next to me.
I know, well, you know.
And keep going because we want it.
You want it fine
Yeah, I
or
want
like-
it really fine. I don't want somebody to be biting into a great big hunk of pepper. All right, now what I've got here is the citrus part of it. This is 2 oranges and the zest that we've got off the orange. And then what we've done is put it into some cold water and brought the water to the boil. As soon as it hits the boil, drain it off, put some more cold water in there, bring it to the boil again. Then it goes onto a tray, into the oven, and at 100 degrees for around about an hour until it dries out. Now, so let's get in there and give that a good... This is one of the secret weapons that you can have in the cupboard, pull out and sprinkle old prawns on the barbecue over a beautiful piece of fish, as you say, pan-fried. Be absolutely lovely, but just a little bit because it's quite strong. Okay, that looks good. So let's have that into there. Okay, so our crumb is ready, and that could go into an airtight container. We could store that for months and it would still be fantastic. Malto. This is what we're going to use to make the crumb. And I want you to just put your finger in here and just feel how light it is. It's quite incredible.
Wow. It's a really weird texture.
It's made from tapioca, okay? Or it's a type of maltodextrin. A lot of people use it in cakes to make things, is to fill a cake out because there's no calories in it whatsoever. So what we're actually going to do is we've got some bitter chocolate, which is going to go into a bain-marie, and we're going to melt that chocolate. So I put 25 grams of good quality bitter chocolate in here, and then it's going into the 30 grams of the malto. So we've melted our bitter chocolate, and then what we're going to do now is, I'll do this first bit here, is put it in here, and you tend to mix it round and it'll go everywhere because it's so light. Like if you blow it, it would be all over the place.
And I mean, this maltose is quite neutral in flavour, so it's fantastic to add flavours to it.
Now what we're going to do is we're going to put like a good sort of heaped amount of this in here. So this is now a carrier for our spice as well as our chocolate. Yeah, I'll put like almost a good couple of teaspoons in there, and then you can have a taste of it and add more to it if you want. Less, depends on how spicy, because remember this is all peppers that were put in here, so it's carrying some heat. We'll set it aside. You can make that in advance, store it in an airtight container in the cupboard, and it will last weeks in there, no problem at all. Let's cook some venison, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, first time, yeah? Cool, so let's heat the pan up. Let's season those with Moa River salt.
Do you want them like rubbed in or just over the top?
I don't want you to be shy about it. I want you to get in there, you know? Roll it over. Let's get some olive oil into the pan, just a little bit. Just a little bit of butter knobbed in. So let's get the venison in there. And that butter's browned up straight away. That's all flavour we're going to get going there. How does that look?
Yeah.
Does that look good?
That looks very good.
Turning it around so we caramelise all the exterior of it.
How long is this going to be in the oven, at what temperature?
We're going to pop the venison into the oven for between 4 and 6 minutes at 180 degrees C in a preheated oven. Thanks, Danny. Awesome.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Take a seat.
Great job.
What we've done is we've put our venison into the oven. It'll be cooking for 4 to 6 minutes, and we'll be back to do our parsnip puree, our fennel, our onions, and finish off with the sauce.
Fantastic. We're here with Chef Simon Galt, and he's cooking for us an absolutely extraordinary venison dish using New Zealand venison. What's up next, Simon?
You'd know from the restaurant, if you serve something that's got a puree on it or a mashed potato, people just love it, don't they? You know, it's like always helps sell a dish. And parsnip puree, which we've got here, which is silky smooth. So, George, I'm going to get you to heat that up for me, if that's okay.
Yep.
Now, I've got some wonderful wild cipollini onions, which I first discovered in Italy. But now in New Zealand, good old Australia, we can buy them. They're a flat onion. Peel them. 100 mils of stock, vegetable stock or chicken stock, whichever you prefer, 100 mils of good balsamic and 100 mils of sunflower oil, and then just poach them off until they're wonderful and tender.
Brilliant.
If you can warm those up.
That'd be great.
Sous vide fennel. Some of you guys have done some sous vide cooking. I like to do it because the fennel itself can be quite fibrous. And by cooking it in the style of sous vide, which means under vacuum, and then you put the bag into a water bath and cook it at 85 degrees for an hour and a half, they're just so tender and wonderful. So I've just sous vide it in here with a little bit of Puree and some stock. But remember at home, if you don't have a sous vide bath, it's not the end of the world. You can still roast them, you can blanch them in water, but if you're going to blanch them in water, get some Puree in there, get some stock in there, and season that water before you cook them. And I'm just going to pick a couple of nice pieces. Normally I would do it with baby fennel, which is just, but this is a larger piece of fennel which has been cut into quarters. Just a couple of tablespoons almost of the juice there.
Oh. Yum. It's so aniseed in flavour. It's absolutely delicious and sweet.
I want to kind of add to that now. We've cooked it already, but I'm just going to heat it up, and I'm just going to give it a little bit more love with some Puree, which is the aniseed flavour in there. And I've just put not even a tablespoon in there. And once that starts to come up to the boil, I'm just going to knob just a little bit of butter in there just to get that glaze and that extra flavour going on. I've got a Madeira jus here, and you guys must be all experts at making jus by now, I'm sure. Now, I've got an orange onion jam here, and it's just to give the jus just a little bit of texture because we've got that orange theme going. So I'll just get that in there like that, give it a little stir around. Now, there are two things that I like to do with a jus at the last minute, is if it's a Madeira jus, I'm just going to put just a drizzle more Madeira in there, because normally you want to cook the alcohol out, but I just want just a drizzle, because it will make a difference to the flavour. I'm going to heat that up, and I will just knob a little bit of butter in there and let that butter dissolve, and that will just richen our jus up just a little bit. And the last thing we're going to do is just put a little sprinkle of the spice in there so it's coming through the dish together. And just by mixing it around in there, that flavour will come alive. Should we have a go at plating this up?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. The venison's been in the oven for 6 minutes now, so we'll get it out and we'll have a look. Now, the fibres in venison are much shorter than other meat. And the other thing to remember about venison, the cholesterol is much, much lower than other meat. So it's really good for you. While the venison finishes off resting, we'll plate it up. So we'll grab our puree, get some on there. We'll come along and we'll run our citrus chocolate crumb down the plate here. Pop that there. we'll take one of our cipollini onions. Come along, let's have a piece of venison on there. So you can see how beautiful that's looking. Looks really good, doesn't it? And some jus. And we don't need a lot of the jus because there's lots of flavours going on here. So there you have it, my New Zealand venison with parsnip puree, cipollini onion, sous vide fennel and citrus jus.
Oh,
See, always when the food is about...
Got the nose for it, right?
Nose for venison, and New Zealand venison at that. That
Perfect.
looks absolutely delicious. Good stuff we're going to taste.
What do you reckon, Danny? Simon?
Why not?
She did a good job. Maybe Michael. Right, guys, time to taste. Off you go.
Thank you.
That looks absolutely delicious. How beautifully that's cooked.
I want to taste the fennel because I love the way it was cooked.
The fennel's great.
Fennel's so good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Hey?
Try the onion. The venison's beautiful.
And you can taste the healthiness.
The thing I like is that right at the end, after you've had all of it, you still get a little bit of the warmth from the pepper and a little bit of the chocolate, and it just finishes it off. And it's really beautiful, and that puree's very smooth.
Yeah, delicious.
I really like the sweetness of the dish. I love the onions, but then it's sort of cut with the creaminess of the puree, and the fennel is my favourite part of the dish, I think, along with the venison. It's just really nice all together.
Right, Michael, Danny, pop your knives and forks down. Back to you soon.
Thank you, Simon.
Thank you. Some tips for you guys. Number one, the fennel, finish it with some Puree into the pot and it'll bring out that aniseed flavour. The venison, always let it get to room temperature. Don't overcook it and rest it. Finish the sauce with just a drizzle of the Madeira, knob a little butter into there to emulsify it in there, and you'll have a beautiful, rich sauce.
Simon, thank you so much for gracing us here on MasterChef Australia.
Thanks for having me. May the best cook win.
Oh, you can hear the birds? It's our second day here in Wellington as part of the private masterclass that Justin North has organised. And I'm really excited just to find out what food he's going to be teaching us.
We don't really know what's in store for us today, but all we know is that we have to meet Justin at the top of the cable car.
Hi ladies, good morning. How are you?
Hi, how are you going?
Welcome to a beautiful winter's morning in Wellington. Shall we get on the cable car?
Yeah, sure.
So later on, we're going to go and meet Matt and Bosley, one of New Zealand's most famous chefs, and have a masterclass with them. But before we do, I want to take you on a foodie's tour of Wellington's most eclectic and exciting cafe and bar scene.
Wow! That sounds great.
Wellington's got a population of only about 300,000, but then it's got over 400 different restaurants and cafes and bars. This is absolutely amazing, this place. It's called Fennel's, and it's right in the cultural hub of Wellington Centre. But the best part is 100% Cuban coffee. I'm going to get a macchiato. What do you guys want?
Cappuccino.
Cappuccino. Can I get 2 cappuccinos and a macchiato, please?
Thank you.
Thank you.
These coffees look great.
Yeah. There seems to be a lot of variety of food here.
Absolutely everything. It's amazing. I did my apprenticeship here 19 years ago. It's such an amazing place to learn how to cook. So this is Floriditas, which is absolutely fantastic. Don't you just love the atmosphere in here? Floriditas is renowned for its eggs. So they've got some fantastic dishes, really simple food. OK, let's have a taste. After you guys. The secret is fresh eggs. I can't wait, I'm gonna have some as well.
They're beautiful
So
eggs.
much flavour, isn't it? It's incredible. OK, let's taste these beautiful fresh figs and Greek yoghurt.
I love this.
It's amazing the difference when you have really good produce like this. Kiwis seem to travel loads and loads overseas, and it's amazing how they pick up these different ethnic-style cuisines and then bring it all back to Wellington.
Oh,
Wow.
Wow. Yum.
looks
So
really
I reckon
good.
this one must be the gumbo.
Yes.
It's like really rich and fragrant and gorgeous. And then this is like a paella, which is a jambalaya. So it's got like smoked Cajun sausage and chicken and prawns and that real Cajun style food. Sounds good. I want to eat.
Yeah. Can we dig in?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's go. This is beautiful food. And I could probably happily eat 3 bowls of this. That is so full of flavour.
It's really spicy.
Really nice. And sweet. Real nice sweetness to it.
It's beautiful on the harbour here. It's absolutely
Incredible,
gorgeous.
I love it about Wellington, all these cool bars. Ladies, I'd like you to meet Ricky,
Hi,
New
guys.
Zealand's
How are you?
cocktail champion. How you doing, mate? You
Very
well?
well.
Good
Yourself?
to see you. Excellent. What would you recommend?
I think because we're at Foxglove, obviously, and we're on the waterfront, maybe something that will keep you warm because you're in Wellington and it's winter. So we're going to do a really old classic cocktail from the 1850s called a blazer. Local ingredients, so 42 below Manuka honey, which was made just across the bay there, and this gunpowder rum as well, which is now being distributed nationwide. Yeah, so is that good?
Sounds perfect. Can we get 3 of those?
Absolutely, we'll see you soon.
Wonderful, we'll be outside. Thanks.
Okay, guys, here's your blazers. Enjoy.
Thank you so much.
How good do these look?
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to Wellington. Stunning. It's so nice, isn't it?
So nice.
Warming
it's
and
really
fresh.
smooth and warming. It's perfect for a cold day.
Yeah, smooth.
So smooth.
So, ladies, we're going to finish our food tour today by visiting Martin Bosley's Yacht Club restaurant. Martin's one of the most awarded chefs in New Zealand, and we're going to go and get a fabulous masterclass with. So make sure you ask him lots of questions along the way.
Today's been such a huge day. We've had coffee at Fennel's, perfect poached eggs at Florentina's. At Sweet Mother's, we've had Cajun, New Orleans-style food, cocktails at Foxglove, and now we're going to meet Martin Bosley, who's one of New Zealand's best chefs, to have a masterclass with him.
Hey, how are you? G'day, Martin. How are you, mate? Good to see you.
Yeah, long time. Yeah, too long, ladies. How are you?
Alana?
Alana, hi.
Ellie.
Ellie, welcome to my restaurant, Martin Bosley's. What makes the restaurant so well regarded is the unique location that we enjoy here and the attention to detail that we apply to every aspect of the restaurant, from the level of service to the food that we cook. Service! Our philosophy here at the restaurant is to eat what is fresh, eat what is in season, and to eat what is local. I'm a firm believer that food should please the eye as well as the palate, so we spend a lot of time plating our food to really get that presentation absolutely right. I think what I'm known for really is the integrity behind the dishes that we cook, whether it be seafood, whether it be desserts, whether it be meat dishes or vegetable dishes. People come here because they love what we do.
What have you got in store for us today, Martin?
I thought we'd start with a warming winter dessert using one of our seasonal fruits, the feijoa, and mixing that up with some Manuka honey. It's a dessert we call blossoms and honey. The first thing I thought we'd make is a walnut praline. So the first thing to do is just to give the pot a wipe out just with an ordinary kitchen cloth. We don't want anywhere for any of the sugar crystals to be able to lodge onto the side of the pot and build up and fall back into our caramel and start to crystallise. We're going to add 2 tablespoons of water. That's it. And add 200 grams of sugar into that as well. Turn that on and just get that cranked up. One of the classic mistakes a lot of people make at this stage is they'll grab a wooden spoon and they'll start stirring it around to get that little bit of sugar dissolving there. Big mistake, you don't want to do it, because as soon as you put the spoon in there and start to stir it, it'll just crystallise straight away and you'll have to start all over from scratch. We will try and get a little bit of moisture onto the top of that sugar that's in the centre there, though. Just gently stirring it. You'll see shortly as that last bit of sugar in the centre goes, you'll see the gold colour creeping in from the edges of the pot. We just give the pan a bit of a gentle shake there as well, just to sort of get that sugar moving around. Just a little bit more, not too far to go now. Nice and golden brown, lovely. There's 200 grams of walnuts, just tip them straight in. And now just stir those through. Just make sure they're all nicely coated. Okay, now if you just want to tip these onto this tray here. Now, because the walnuts are cooked, you feel it seasoning around the nuts already?
Yeah.
Okay, and just a little paper across the top, and we'll grab the rolling pin. Okay, and just roll that out pretty much as flat as you really can. Obviously, you're not going to get it too flat because of the nuts that are in there. Right, but you see it's got a beautiful shine to it as well. We're going to let that cool down, and we're going to start the candied bread stage. Okay, Alana, so you're going to help us out with the next stage of the candied bread process. This is the praline that we just made. All I've done, once it was cool, is just put it through the food processor just to break it up into this fine crumb. That's 60 grams of the praline. Now 60 grams of sourdough bread. Now I've just dried this out in the oven at 100 degrees overnight, so just dump that in there as well. Add in 30 grams of corn flour as well, just tip that in. We've got 20 grams of icing sugar, 45 grams of unsalted butter. I only ever use unsalted butter here in the kitchen. And 1 whole egg. Just give that a stir, mix everything together. Now what's going to happen is we're going to put this back into the oven to dry it out on 160 degrees for about 20 minutes, and then that praline will sort of soften up again and go back to a candy. Just tip that onto there. And you don't have to be too careful how you do it. That's it, lovely, right? Not very attractive looking at this stage, but trust me.
It smells good, so it's going to taste good.
That's right, yeah, that's great, OK? So what we're going to do now is we're going to put that into a 160-degree oven for 20 to 30 minutes. OK, so we've done the first part of this dessert. We've made the candied bread. So we'll start the next stage of the Manuka and Feijoa honey cake. The first thing, Ellie, is if you just want to lightly grease these ramekin moulds just with a little bit of that unsalted butter that I've got there. Yes. And while we've done that as well, we've just made some little paper sort of cut out where they look like little darts.
So that's like a little cartouche, right?
A little cartouche here to go into the bottom of them. Push that into the bottom there of each one. And then we've just got a little bit of Manuka honey here. Put it like a teaspoon just in the bottom of each one. So the fruit that we're going to use is a fruit called the Feijoa. Now, they originated in Brazil, and it's kind of hard to describe what the flavour of these really is. So what you do to eat these, grab a teaspoon, you still see that little line that runs around, and you see how easy this comes out. Right, and that's it, and that is... They are amazing. Really juicy, sweet, got that little sharpness that comes through there, and then they've got that graininess that's there as well. Just tip it upside down in there, so the fruit just lands in the centre of that honey. Fantastic. Simple as that, look at that. So we'll put those moulds to one side and we'll get on with making the cake. OK, so this is a really simple cake batter recipe. So what we're going to do first, we're going to start off by creaming 175 grams of unsalted butter going into the machine there. Do
you want it sort of soft or still quite firm?
Soft. I mean, I keep it soft. I mean, at this stage, what we really want to do here, Justin, is cream that butter and sugar. There's 150 grams of sugar. And the more we cream that butter and sugar together, the lighter our cake is going to be. That's it, right, just slowly. Just give that a little, just get the stuff off the sides there. OK, we're going to add the remaining honey. Just turn the machine off while we do that. OK, so this is the last of the Manuka honey there. We've got about 100 grams or so, whatever's left over after putting some of the ramekin. And I've got 20 mils of dark rum. And the other thing we're going to add as well is the seeds from these vanilla pods. So just turn that on gently to begin with. We'll start to mix that in. That's it. And we're just looking to slowly incorporate this in there. OK, now that those are combined, we're going to add 3 eggs, and we'll do this one at a time. So once that egg is incorporated, add your second egg, avoiding any shell, of course. Yeah, beautiful. OK, get the other one in. Once you start adding these in. So to this, we're going to add 175 grams of self-raising flour, a good solid tablespoon at a time.
About that speed?
You go a little bit faster and get it in. Yeah, that's it. A tablespoon of ground almonds, half a teaspoon of baking powder, and just a good pinch of salt. Yeah, that's it. Yep, lovely. OK, so we're just going to do one final sort of mixing together, nice and creaming it up. OK, turn it off.
It's a beautiful batter.
It's a lovely batter, isn't it? So what we're going to do now is we'll put our feijoas and the honey on a tray. The only thing you've got to do now is, using a kitchen spoon again, is just put nice big dollops on top of this and let it come down around the feijoa, yeah? That's it, great. Now then, all we're going to do now, I'll show you the first one, right, is we're just going to smooth that off across the top, like that, OK, and then just do the rest, and any remaining just drag back into into that there. Just drag it across, that's it, and that's it, get rid of the rest on there. That's it, fantastic. So these are going to go into a 160-degree oven for about 45 minutes. OK, guys, now it's time to plate it up, and we're going to bring, of course, the other elements of the dish which we haven't made today, OK? This is the candied bread that we made, and we just crumble this down in the food processor and then run it through a sieve a couple of times. You sort of get different textures from it. Just a little pile up here, that's what we're going to set the honey and orange blossom ice cream, and we're just going to sprinkle the rest over the plate. Then here is the feijoa cake. So this is rested out of the oven. It's had about 30 minutes. We turned it upside down, removed the parchment off. We're going to set that in there as well. And this is just some of the juices that we've got left over that came out of the ramekin that was in there as well. So this is honey. We're just going to spoon that across the top. What we have here, this is the honey and yogurt panna cotta with the lemon verbena jelly on the top. So we're just going to very carefully lift those up. We're just going to sit those in there. Like that, OK. In the squeezy bottle here, we call this a jasmine pudding. It's another way of bringing in another fragrance to this dish without it being a flower as such.
There's so many different flavours going on.
Yeah, and each one is kind of like its own little thing. We've got some lovely rosemary flowers here as well. And they're just going to add also a lovely little bit of colour. OK, so the final two elements that we're going to add to this, we have the honey and orange blossom ice cream. So we're just going to give a spoon here. And run through there. And then we're just going to put feijoa juice. And mix that with a little bit of sugar syrup and a little bit of lecithin just to sort of help hold the foam. The last element that I'm going to put across the top of the ice cream here is bee pollen. This is gathered from the tails of the bees as they're returning to the hive. Amazing properties, it's got a beautiful flavour to it, which brings again another element of colour.
Yeah.
And that's our dish, blossoms and honey. Who wants to be first?
Me.
That panna cotta.
The panna cotta's beautiful.
Yeah,
Lovely
melts in your
texture.
mouth.
What fascinates me is that there's lots of different ingredients on there, but how well they come together.
It's really nice.
The cake, yeah.
It's not too sweet, but you can taste the fruit and the syrup.
It's a nice way of sort of having that autumn-winter pudding without it being too heavy. It's really nice and light.
I love steamed puddings, but they're just seriously bad for my health, you know.
Oh, I love that panna cotta.
You can have the last bit.
Get the last bit
a
out.
big bowl of it.
OK, so my top 3 tips for the dessert that we've done today. The first tip is about the praline. You've got to be really careful that you don't caramelise up that sugar when you're melting it down. It doesn't go too dark, too quick. The second would be the candied bread. It's a great way of using stale bread and can be used with savoury or sweet dishes. And the third one is the cake batter, which is a great basic recipe that can be used with lots of different seasonal fruit and add other elements to that batter as well as you see fit. So, Ali, Alana, thank you very much for coming and spending the day here at Martin Bosley's. It's been a pleasure to have you. Hope you learned a few things. Justin,
Thank
good to
you,
see
mate.
you.
That was
No worries.
awesome.
Great
I
to
told
see
you it's
again.
good, didn't I?
Thank you so much for having us.
No, a pleasure.
We've learnt so much.
Yeah, we have.
Take back into the kitchen now.
Yeah.
Hopefully have a little one-up on the rest of the contestants.
Yeah.
We'll keep secrets.
Cool, brilliant.
Right, guys, let's celebrate. Let's eat.
Right, that's it, guys. Another week. Oh, my goodness, and a big week it was too. When you look around now and you look at the few people that are standing opposite you, is it starting to hit home that you're now part of top 10? Now there is nowhere to hide. And remember, there is so much more to come. May the best cook win.
Good luck, guys.
Cheers.
Next time on MasterChef Australia,
Some old school traditional MasterChef.
the mystery box is back.
Whoever wins this challenge walks away with a huge advantage.
There are sweet treats in store.
Take your pudding from dull to dazzling.
And George is impressed.
It is spectacular.
And then,
The challenge that really matters, the invention test.
when it's all about being creative,
Frozen baklava.
some will fail.
Sort of goes...
But one will nail it.
That is absolutely unbelievably good.